Hello everyone and welcome to another real estate video. This is Javier Vidana, the real estate YouTube guy in Phoenix, Arizona, helping you accomplish your home goals. In today's video, I want to talk about what I personally believe is going to happen to the market, specifically talking about the housing market and specifically pertaining to people who are looking to buy a house for the first time or thinking about selling their house and moving up to another house. Last week I talked about specifically how this whole situation has been affecting down payment assistance bond programs and as well as jumbo loans as they're being affected now. And I also spoke about how people who are thinking about buying should maybe hold off and play it on a week by week situation, and anyone who's in escrow with a great interest rate should stick to it. So my opinion really hasn't changed about that. One thing that has kind of changed in the last few days though is there are some down payment assistance bond programs coming out, and I believe I also heard that the restrictions are even more strict now for anyone who's trying to use these bond programs. But you know guys, even if they are back or your state still has them, I'm not putting a lot of confidence in that right now. Another update is I was reporting last week that, hey, I think the government was gonna buy these mortgage-backed securities because the interest rates, as you remember last week, are just going up and down like crazy. And that exactly happened this weekend or Monday, I don't remember the day. They committed to buy an unlimited amount of mortgage-backed securities for the near future. So that stabilized the interest rates a lot more, and you're gonna see people reporting that interest rates are as low as ever. So I wanna start off by talking about what I think is gonna happen for sure. So the way I understand the housing market to work in my experience is what you're feeling now is the effects of the previous few months. So for example, January, February, we had a huge supply demand issue in Phoenix where there was high demand, low supply. And that was being caused by, people anticipating moving into the city around the new year. Maybe they made the decision or have been saving money for the last few months. So all the actions of the previous months was leading to that huge surge of demand, right? So this was causing housing prices to just increase. Literally, a house would be listed between 200 to 300 and sell within days for 10, 20, 30,000 with no closing costs. It was just insanity for those first few months. So what's happening now is this whole coronavirus thing hit, and initially, if you remember in my first video, I was pretty optimistic still. There was still a huge demand issue and people were still out looking. I was still showing houses. It was like kind of still normal. What's happening now for sure is most buyers who are thinking about buying a house are either A, holding off because they would rather have those savings in the bank in case things go bad, and B, they're unsure of their job security and if they're going to be able to sustain a new house and a new payment. So they're just going to hold off on that. Or C, God forbid, you lost your job and now you can't even qualify for a house. And that whole supply demand issue we had going on, demand's going to start going lower. And supply is also going to go lower because a lot of listings are holding off because they don't want people walking in through their house. They don't know where they've been. Even there's some listings out there that are making you sign like a form saying, have you been out of the country? Do you have a fever? Do you have all that or the other? Still redundant because you could lie on that form. And secondly, coronavirus, as you guys know, you can be walking around for 1 to 14 days with no symptoms and be fine and be transmitting the disease. So not only is demand going to go down, but supply is going to go down as well. Which one is going to go lower? I'm not sure. Theoretically, if it still goes down about the same and there's still a higher demand than supply, I guess whatever houses are out there are going to be selling quickly. What I personally think will happen is demand is going to drop sharper than supply, because I think personally it's a bigger commitment to buy a house than to sell yours and buy another. So I think it's going to even out. And what's going to happen to prices is they're going to stop rising. As of next month or 2 months, they're going to stop rising. What happens in the future, it depends on whatever case scenario will happen. Literally every week it's changing, and 2 weeks ago, houses are still selling quickly. Now, I believe as the weeks keep going on, you're going to start seeing it drop, the activity at least. And what you're going to start noticing is there'll be less houses for sale. If a house is on the market, it'll probably stay longer on the market. All right, now let's talk about the best or worst case scenario. What's weird about this whole situation, we shouldn't be comparing it to what happened in the 2008, 2009, whatever housing recession, the big recession or whatever they decide to call it. I don't remember. We shouldn't be comparing it to that because this is a human created issue where people's lives are being lost and there's a genuine panic of what's going on, because literally not only are your life in danger, but your family, your loved ones. This is a different kind of crisis. The crisis before was an economic crisis. People were still alive, they were still breathing, they were just losing their houses, losing their jobs, and it was still terrible, but we shouldn't be comparing it to what happened then. This is going to depend on what happens and what we decide collectively to do to combat the virus. Best case scenario, we flatten the curve. Maybe it takes 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 6 months, I would assume. And when we flatten the curve, we're still going to feel that effect of, less activity and less houses. What I mean specifically for the housing market is because there's less activity, depending on what the buyer's seller scale is, I think prices are going to dip slightly. If you're thinking or banking on the fact that you want a good interest rate, it's going to depend on your credit. And people with higher credit scores will probably take advantage of a better interest rate. But I think personally that this whole idea what we have now, where if you go FHA, what will happen in this best case scenario is there is going to be some kind of foreclosure increase. Now, the government did, push back 3 months of foreclosure proceedings and all of that. That's fine and dandy, but that's still just pushing back the inevitable. People have lost their jobs, people have lost their sources of income, and when it comes time to pay those 3 months or 1 month or whatever, they're still not going to have the money. So in this best case scenario, past the 6 month time frame, you're going to start seeing more HUD homes, more foreclosures, and that's going to kind of start dropping the prices even a little lower. So eventually, maybe after a year, maybe early 2021, we're going to do a bounce back and we're going to get back to normal and things are going to start kind of stabilizing. But in this best case scenario, that means, the spread of the virus gets combated heavily. We do our part as humans to not spread it so rapidly, and hopefully the hospitals can keep track of, the amount of people that need respirators, and all this is best case scenario, right? In Arizona, they said, hey, we're not stopping a lot of small businesses. We want people to keep working. There's a lot of people on social media, a lot of essential workers that are still going to work. You guys know I love my realtors and lenders, but realtors and lenders are out there still being the worst of the worst and bragging about these deals are closing and all this stuff, and forcing people to buy sooner than they want to. And there's all this stuff happening with people living in denial. And I personally think they're living in denial because our test scores are low, meaning we have lower people that are infected in Arizona. But the reality is we have almost no test. We have very little tests. We've only tested, as of today, a little bit over 600 people. We have millions of people here. And I don't think people are taking it as seriously as they need to. So because of this might lead us to the worst case scenario where this ends up taking longer. More lives are lost because of this. The hospitals can't keep track with all the people that are going in there, and we are not able to flatten the curve. What's going to happen is we're going to have a sharp curve up and a sharp curve down. It would be a large loss of human lives, and I hope this doesn't happen, but it's going to affect us heavily. There's going to be a higher foreclosure rate. That's going to drop the values even lower. And what's going to happen is when that prices start going lower, people are going to start wanting to sell. It's going to cause more listings to come out than buyers are coming out, and eventually it's going to start tanking down. In this worst case scenario, with the country being hit so hard, I think everyone's going to be kind of shaken up a bit, and we're going to kind of slowly get back to normal. So, and once again, that's just my opinion of what I think is going to happen. I'm hoping. I know a lot of people out there are staying inside and doing their part. I haven't gone out and had contact with anybody in the last week and a half. I hope that we come to our senses soon and we start staying home more and doing what we need to. Hopefully we can slow down the virus and it won't affect us as bad. But right now, my position still stays the same. If you're already under contract, you got a great interest rate. And even if the market does go down in values a little more, what I'm seeing personally is a lot of the deals I have are coming in with a lot lower appraisals of the price. So, for example, I had a deal that we made under contract for $315. Well, that one came in at $300. We had another one at $280, came in at $260. So all these appraisals that I have currently are coming in lower already. So I'm already starting to see a slight dip, or it could be the appraisal saying, hey, that was inflated prices because of the high demand. Now it's going lower. So even if you are in a position where you're buying right now, you have a great interest rate. 1 point of interest rate at a higher price is better than getting a lower price with higher interest. 1 point of interest is like maybe $200 to $400 of your monthly payment. Obviously, it depends on the purchase price and a lot of more factors, but it's a huge savings. This is compared to $10,000 of your house being about $50. Yeah. So it's really, even if you take a slight loss, I count on it bouncing back up. So you're probably going to catch up with the equity fine. And as long as you can afford the payment and you have good job stability to keep paying that payment, then I would be happier with the lower interest now. So if you're on the ride already, hold on. If you were thinking about buying, I'm still in the same position. Just play it by ear, wait, week by week situation, see what's going to happen, see how everything kind of balances out. And I mean, yeah, I mean, unless you're in a position where you're like, dude, I'm sorry, but I'm sick of living with my mom and dad, and I know what's going on right now, but we have to be out. You know, like I said, there's always gonna be people that want to buy, and there's always people that want to sell. So if you're in that position, you're in that rare percentage, then great, still start your process. Just be a little weary when you're looking at houses. Make sure to take a sanitizer, wash your hands, take masks, and do what you got to do. But you know, if you're in that position, you have to do what you got to do, then go do it. But everyone else that, you know, was kind of like looking forward to it but could still wait, my position hasn't changed. All right, well, I'm looking forward to all the negative comments a few months from now saying I was wrong. I hope I get a lot of negative comments saying I was wrong, or maybe I get some that are right and we're all in like Mad Max style and like these giant tanks driving around, and I'll be making my videos like this giant tank with like my kids with machine guns and everything. That's bad, I know, I'm sorry. We have to stay positive. We have to have some kind of humor during these times. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, please comment below or send me, all my contact information is below. And I'm still setting up appointments, or not in-person appointments, but I'm kind of working my system around a little differently so we can do like face-to-face, like online appointments, so I can kind of help you strategize your home goals, so when things get back to normal, you'll be ready to go. So let me know. I was gonna say, if you're looking for a realtor in Phoenix, Arizona, you know to call, but I just said that you probably should wait. So, you know, you get the point. Just message me. All right, guys, take care. Bye.